What are the key levers to success, or like in terms of time hierarchy? Where are you spending your time?
What I've learned through the years of being a YouTuber is that the most important thing is not the editing, it's not any of that, it's the
Most people spend their whole lives trying to escape the system, and today's guest actually did it while still in his 20s.
I already make enough money where I can pretty much do whatever I want.
He walked away from a corporate job in London, built multiple online businesses, and became a millionaire before 30, with no investors, no team, and no debt.
After trying the corporate life, I realized I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I need to find a way to make money online.
In today's podcast episode, we unpack how he turned his YouTube channel, Internet Made Coder, into a multiple six-figure educational brand.
This YouTube channel where I was talking to people about how I had learned to code and become a software engineer started making a lot more money than my actual software engineering job.
The YouTube strategy that built a global audience and financial freedom.
Coding channel, when I started it, I was talking about my personal experience, how I learned to code, like really sharing my personal journey, and that's something that people really resonated with.
How he scaled multiple companies across media, education, affiliate marketing, and SaaS.
Coding channel, the other YouTube channel, and then the software, but roughly it's like 1/3 each. Actually, it's quite interesting. That's why I still keep doing all these three things, because it's not obvious to me which one is like the best one to go all in on.
And how he runs them all at super high margins with zero stress.
It's probably like 95% or something. There's almost no expenses. A couple of subscriptions, the editors. That's always how I wanted to have it.
So if you want to learn how to build wealth that can't be controlled and live life fully on your own terms, this is the episode for you.
Right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the pod. We are back with Tom, but this one, instead of talking about kind of Dubai, Nomad life and that kind of stuff, which we covered previously, I'm actually going to talk about business. And he's done a number of interesting projects, from kind of info products, Dubai lifestyle and kind of setups and stuff like that. But really everything he does is centered around content creation. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. So Tom, welcome to the pod.
Happy to be here.
So yeah, Tom, I know you spoke about this in the last episode, but you got started on the online space learning to code yourself and then kind of teaching people. Is that right?
Yeah, that's essentially right. So what happened, to make a very long story short, is that I was in a situation where I was living in the UK. I was going into corporate life, and for various reasons, after trying the corporate life, I realized I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I need to find a way to make money online. And that was for a lot of different reasons. I didn't like the corporate environment. And also, I've always been kind of like an adventurer. I wanted to be able to live in different places, live around the world, like try different countries. So I started learning more about like how can you make money online, where I just work with my laptop or something like that. And I started seeing more and more YouTubers, I was watching a lot of YouTube at the time, talk about how much money they make and things like that. And I was like, I also liked cameras. I was always like into photography and things like that. So I was like, this is something that I could do. But at the time, I didn't really yet have a topic on what I could actually make these videos about. I didn't have any experience or expertise. So I was trying a lot of the different things out. Actually, before anything took off, for like a year before that, I was running a YouTube channel that never took off. I was making like random vlogs, like kind of talking about random topics, like trying to see what sticks. But eventually I got to a situation where I had just actually transitioned my career from finance into technology and coding. And the way I did that is I just learned to code online on my own. I got a software engineering job with no university degree. Well, I have a university degree, but not in computer science, which is what people usually do. And then I thought, why not start sharing this on YouTube? So I started this like second channel at the time about coding, or like teaching people how to code, and less than even teaching people how to code, talking about my journey of how I learned to code on my own and got this job. So then ironically, very quickly what happened is that this YouTube channel where I was talking to people about how I had learned to code and become a software engineer started making a lot more money than my actual software engineering job. So then I was at a point where, okay, my YouTube channel is making 5x the money of my salary. Why should I keep working this job? Which, I mean, I liked it more than other jobs. I liked it more than other jobs I had done in the past, but I still didn't really want to be tied down by this job or having to report to someone or something like that. So I ended up quitting the job, becoming a full-time YouTuber. At the time, I was still very unsure if this was the right decision, by the way. When I'm telling you the story right now, it sounds like this master plan that I like exactly knew what I was doing at every point. That was absolutely not the case. I just decided, okay, let me just go for it. Let me leave this job, see what happens. And if everything crumbles down, I can always go back. And for the first year of me being a full-time online business owner, full-time YouTuber, every month I was expecting, okay, next month this is going to die. Next time this is going to die. Obviously, that never happened, at least not so far. Exactly, touch wood. So that is how I ended up becoming an online business owner, YouTuber. And after that, I ended up starting a second channel about my life as an expat in Dubai, my life around the world, kind of being a digital nomad, like traveling, like going to different places. I started talking about taxes, and because I learned a lot about that when I actually left the UK to move to Dubai, where I'm still living to this day. And then this channel also ended up taking off. So now I had two different YouTube channels. Where I very quickly got to the point where both of them were making kind of similar money. And so I was running both of those kind of at the same time, and still am to this day. And I also now have a software company where, because I still obviously have the skills of coding and being a developer, I had a friend of mine who had a software idea. He proposed that we could go 50-50. He promotes it, I code it, and I said yes because I thought it was a really good idea. So now essentially I'm in this situation where I have like 3 different businesses in like 3 different categories. We'll see if I can keep doing this in the long run, but for now it's still been fine. So that's essentially how I got from the point of working a job in London where I didn't want to live to now living this like dream life. At least to me, it's a dream life around Dubai and other places with like 3 different businesses.
Very cool. And I think that's the dream of a lot of people.
Exactly.
Would you say the reason for the success with content is when you kind of switched and started talking about your life and it was like the personal brand?
Yeah, well, I was already successful with the other channel. Like
Okay.
it was making a lot of money. I could have just kept doing that.
But were you still talking about your experiences learning to code and so on? So it's still kind of about you, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like,
Okay.
oh yeah. If you mean like, yes, with the coding channel, like the reason it took off is because I was talking about my story of like how I learned to code. So definitely, I would say that was a big reason. Because with the other channel, the previous one that never worked, I wasn't really, I didn't feel comfortable enough to like really share like my personal opinions, my personal experiences. So when you would look back at those videos, it seemed a bit like impersonal. Whereas with the coding channel, when I started it, I was talking about my personal experience, how I learned to code, like really sharing like my personal journey. And that's something that people really resonated with. And it just took like being comfortable, like being vulnerable on camera, like talking about like mistakes I've done and things like that. I think that's definitely something that's probably a big reason why that channel ended up taking off, because I got so many comments of people being like, I've been in the same place as you, but you motivated me with your story to like start learning to code or whatever. And now the same with the other channel, the Tuomas channel, where I talk about like my life, how I moved to Dubai, all these kind of things. It's kind of the same things that people have gone through, and I talk about a lot of the mistakes I've made, and people can really relate to that. So that's probably a big pillar, definitely.
Okay. And was it always YouTube, or did you do other content channels?
It was YouTube, man. I tried, like, I dabbled in like TikTok or something like
Short
that.
form.
Yeah, short form, and none of that ever taken. YouTube was always the one that I really wanted to do. It was the one where I saw the most potential to like build a business, because I like making videos, but I also wanted to be a business because I want to be able to do it. So I was aware that it's much more difficult to do that with other channels. So YouTube was always like the main one I was focused on, and still is.
And as a creator, what does the kind of day-to-day look like for you?
So it really depends. So now I have like a very well-oiled like machine of like making these videos. It kind of depends if it's not a sponsored video. So on the coding channel, I have a lot of sponsorships. That's a different process than if it's not a sponsored video. And on the other channel, I do affiliate only, so I don't do like flat free sponsorship. So that's a much more simple process in terms of producing the video. So if you're talking about like a single video, I have like a Notion database where I have a bunch of ideas. And whenever I'm like, okay, I could work on a new video, I just pick one, kind of make an outline. I don't script the videos fully because I feel like when I talk from a script, I sound like a robot. And I tried that for a bit of time, but I didn't really like how it turned out. And often these topics are something I can just like talk about naturally, so I prefer to do that. So then, like, kind of whenever I feel like, I'll record a couple of videos, usually like 2 or 3 at a time. Then I have these videos ready, and I have a couple of editors who I pay per video as like freelancers. So I will send these videos to them, like basically as soon as an editor is ready. My goal is always to have a new video to like ready to go, so I can just send a new one straight away, so there's no downtime. And that's pretty much how it goes for all of them. And then they come back, I give some comments, they give a new version. Then when the video is ready, I will schedule it on the channel. So I usually have quite a lot of videos like scheduled before of time, ahead of time on the channels. So that's pretty much what it looks like in terms of producing those videos. So I mean, I know you asked about like day to day, but day to day really just varies like which stage I'm in with producing new videos. Like, do I have videos to review? Should I script more videos, like write like outlines? If I have a sponsorship for the coding channel, then sometimes there's like I need to make a script for them and they need to approve it. And there's like I usually just on a day-to-day basis look at like, okay, what stage I am in all the videos that I'm making, and then just like continue from where I left off based on like just basically whenever I feel like working, essentially.
Okay. And for the, just picking a random video, what are the key levers to success, or like in terms of time hierarchy, where are you spending your time?
What I've learned through the years of being a YouTuber is that the most important thing is not the editing, it's not like any of that, it's the actual information in the video. Like, is it actually helpful? Is it something that people are actually interested in? It's very easy, especially for me now on this second channel, which is now almost like my main channel, but the smaller channel where I talk about the tax stuff. I'm talking about topics that I just a year ago or even right now find interesting and find something that is helpful. So I would just usually think of topics that I really would want to know and that I think are helpful, that there's not enough information about, and I will try to structure it in as simple and clear a way as possible. And then that's probably like 80 or 90% of the value of the video. It's just the information. Even if there was no editing, I just like talk to the camera, that would still be a valuable video if I provide good information in an easy to understand way. So I try to focus most of my attention on that, on like getting ideas that are actually good videos, specifically thinking about whoever is the target audience. If it's for the Tuomas channel, is like someone who is an online business owner who is interested in either moving to some place, be it Dubai, or like saving on taxes. What would this person find useful, and how can I make their life easier by providing more information? I try to focus almost all my energy on that. And then I have editors who deal with the editing. I don't think too much about like adding like flashy effects or anything like that. It used to be different. I used to focus so much on like the edit. I used to edit myself. Like every frame has to be perfect for like retention and all that. But I think that's less valuable, especially if you're like trying to get people to trust you and then use the services that I promote and things like that. On the coding channel is a bit different because it's mainly sponsorship based. So a lot of time will go into like reviewing the products, like the sponsorship offers I get, and like contracts. I mean, I have an agent who deals with all of that, but it's much more like a lengthy process. There's like a script I have to make, and I have to think about like their brief, what they want me to say, and what I want to say, what I'm like willing to say, thinking about how to make these both at the same time useful and good for the audience, but at the same time something that the brand is going to be happy with. So that's kind of like a different approach. But I would say that's like mainly the information, making it as clear as possible. That's pretty where most of my time goes.
Okay, and how much time are you spending on like the packaging? So like thumbnail, title, intro. How much thought process goes into that?
Intro, not that much, to be honest. Like not any more than the rest of the script. I probably should, to be fair. But
Ed would disagree. Huh?
Yes, exactly. I know. Thumbnail, title, I do spend a bit. Sometimes it's very easy for me to think of a good title and a thumbnail straight away. I straight away have a good idea. I just make them. I make my thumbnails myself still.
Wow.
Yeah. I know I could probably hire someone for that, but also I kind of enjoy doing them weirdly. So I haven't had the need to do that. I can't give you like a specific time or anything like that, but like I do pay attention to it for sure, and it kind of depends. Sometimes I have a video where I know that this is a good video, but I can't think of like a good title, like a title that's short enough.
Yeah.
I can't think of a thumbnail that's gonna be like eye-grabbing enough. So sometimes that can take a bit of time. I might even make a couple of different versions, but it really varies a lot.
How much time do you have to put into the channel, or how much time do you put into your channels now compared to when you first started?
Definitely much less now, actually, just because I have an editor. Like editing,
You used to edit yourself?
I used to edit myself. For the first year and a half, I would edit myself. And editing is the kind of thing where it takes 80% of the time, but it's only like 10% of the value, really.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you're on like an entertainment channel, like Mr. Beast or something, that's super important because you're trying to keep the audience engaged. But I'm now of the opinion that if you're an educational channel, like both of my channels are, it's like I mentioned, mostly about the information. Even if people only watch 20% of the video and then leave, but they get a lot of good actionable information, that is going to be really valuable, and they are going to come back. They are going to be likely to use my services and things like that. So I realized that it was not a good use of my time to spend so much time editing. Just focus on the information, let an editor handle it. And obviously it's the same kind of thing as with most content creators. At first you feel like no one else could really do this as well as me, but really like there's a lot of great editors out there that can do even like they do even a better job than I would do personally.
Okay, so you mentioned there the editor hire. Is there anyone else on the team, or is it literally just you guys?
It's just me, and even the editors are not like employees. Like I haven't hired anyone actually
Freelance.
in my life. They're just freelance. I pay them per video. They charge sometimes a flat fee. Sometimes some of them charge like per minute or something like that. It's always like on a per video basis. I've changed editors a couple of times. Now I have a really good editors in my team. 3 in total, 1 for the coding channel, 2 for the other channel. But yeah, no one else. No one else.
Okay. Super interesting. It's a very lean business, right? This is insanely profitable, I imagine. Do you know the rough idea in terms of profit margin on?
It's probably like 95% or something. There's almost no expenses. A couple of subscriptions, the editors, some fees for like I have a program I sell at the coding channel, like some like subscription for the platform that I use, things like that. But it's very, very small. That's always how I wanted to have it. Maybe one day I'll want to have like a bigger business with like a big team or something like that. But for now, like I don't fancy myself taking on the stress and like the overhead of having like a big team or a lot of expenses or something like that. Even if that meant I would make more money, I already make enough money where I can pretty much do whatever I want. Like I don't have the craziest expectations of like, oh, I need to have like Lambos and like all this kind of stuff. My life is pretty much perfect already in terms of what I want. And I really enjoy the work that I do because there is no stress. Like it's quite stress-free. Obviously no business is ever completely stress-free, but it is quite nice. So I haven't felt the need. I even thought about one point like hiring a sales team to like sell my course or something, but then I'm like, but then there's more headache, like more things to deal with, and like I don't really want it so much that I wanna like take on that like extra responsibility and things like that. So who knows? Maybe that will change. But
so you're almost optimizing for like dollars per headache. As a metric.
That's a good way to put it. For sure. Yeah.
Do you feel like you are sacrificing revenue if we take the kind of, the coding channel? I'm sure you could scale that up with ads and, like you said, hire a sales team.
Definitely.
You're choosing not to do that, right?
Right now, I'm not sure so much anymore. So a detail about the coding course business, which I have, is that it's much less profitable now than it was a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago, in that space, there was like almost a gold rush of people learning to code. So every coding YouTuber was selling a course, including myself. Like I got into this like towards the tail end of this like gold rush of people buying programming courses. Over the past couple of years, the economy has become much more difficult, and AI is now here. It's much easier to learn either for free or very low cost and things like that. So it's not as like profitable of a thing anymore as it used to be. I actually know someone who I'm not gonna name, but they used to have this setup where they have a course and they have a sales team and something, and then over the past 2 years or something, their revenue dropped by like 10x because the industry just went down a lot.
Yeah.
So for that like reason, right now I'm not sure if it would even like be super profitable. But if that hadn't happened, then for sure, at least for the first couple of years of me doing that, like the first year of me selling the course, it was doing super well. I knew that had I got a sales team, all that kind of stuff, got like coaches and like more like interaction with the students and that stuff, I could have definitely charged more and made a lot more. But I was willing to make that sacrifice, and I would still make that sacrifice. And there's another thing. At one point with the coding channel, I was offering one-on-one coaching. I had actually like I bought this like YouTube coaching program where they taught me how to run this like one-on-one coaching program. I did that for a while. It was super profitable. I would have probably doubled my income if I just kept doing it. But I didn't enjoy the process of being on one-on-one calls, having things on my calendar. That's a big thing for me. Like anyone who knows me will know this. I don't like having things on my calendar. I don't like to have calls. I hate that stuff for like lifestyle reasons. So if I had to do that to like make enough money, sure, I could do it. But at this point, like the extra money, in terms of like utility on my life, the extra money I could make from that is not that high actually. Like the dollar amount might be high, but if I'm thinking like what would I actually do with that money, like there's not that much actually. I mean, there's always I could live in a nicer place and all this kind of stuff, but I would prefer to have the freedom than the extra money, at least right now.
Okay. So in terms of monetization, you've talked about kind of sponsorships, you've got the affiliate deals, you've got info products. How do you think about monetizing your channels, and what are you kind of evaluating when you do that?
Yeah, so it often depends on the kind of channel you have. Like there's obviously the ways to monetize any YouTube channel in general. You can have obviously AdSense, which is going to be small. You can have affiliate, you can have your own product, you can have sponsorships, or you can have your like own other kind of business that you promote or something like that. It kind of just depends. So on the coding channel side, I knew that there's a lot of sponsorships that you can get with a channel like that. There's a lot of tech products aimed at programmers, so that was a viable path. I've started to get a lot of offers. I still reject like a lot of them, but I have an agent now who deals with the negotiation and everything, so I was able to like streamline that process. So that was a good income source. Still, like right now is the main one. And then I knew that building info product or a program is just a great fit for an education channel in the coding space, especially in those times when it was super profitable to do that. So that's why I went for those. I have smaller like affiliate things there and things like that, but nowadays the sponsorships are the main one. There's a lot of AI products right now that are targeting like tech content creators, so that's been a good source. Actually, interestingly, the views on that channel have gone down a lot, but the revenue hasn't necessarily gone down that much because there's like so many of these AI products that are sponsoring channels like mine these days. On the other channel, again, I was just looking at specifically for this specific space, what makes the most sense, because it's a bit more niche. Like it's not going to get a huge amount of views. So sponsorships probably don't make as much sense. And I haven't even got that much offers for sponsorships because sponsors usually look at views. So I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to do that. What makes sense? Well, I talk about moving to Dubai, and I know that it can be a difficult process to do on your own. So like it probably makes sense to do something in that space, to offer that service or to partner with someone else to like promote them. And that has turned out to be the best way to monetize in that space. There's a lot of like kind of high ticket services I can easily promote, but that doesn't require me to have a lot of views, because the views that I do get are very high value. Like it's very like people with money who are willing to spend money, and it's like a perfect fit, a lot of these services that I promote. So that's why for that channel, that made more sense. I could sell some product, but to this day, I haven't really thought about what would be a product that I could sell to that audience.
Like a suitcase.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, usually it's just case by case.
Okay.
For me, these have made the most sense for these two kind of channels.
On the second one, so the Dubai channel, why did you decide to kind of go the partnership route rather than building out your own company and taking care of everything yourself?
Yeah, so that's interesting. So I was actually in the process of figuring out how to do this on my own until I was reached out to by this company called Genzone that I now partner with. I spoke to them. I knew they knew what they were talking about based on Sorry, based on the conversation I had. And then I thought to myself, okay, does it make more sense for me to partner or build my own company? If I build my own company, it would take a long time for me to have the credibility to actually get people to trust me, to go through like a company setup process. At least that's what I theorized. Because what I also had heard from these people, from the guys at GenZone, it had taken them up to a year to get their first customer, to get their first paying customer. They were hustling for like a full year. I forgot, it was like maybe 9 months or something like that, or up to a year, and making zero money. I was like, okay, I could either go through that process myself, figure out all the details, get the partnerships with the free zones and all that. It's going to be a lot of work for no money, or I can partner with this agency that already exists, that are already done all this work, that already I can trust that they know what they're doing, that's already figured out all this complexity and difficulty. Let them handle all of the delivery, and I can just keep making videos. So it seemed like a much easier choice, and they have they made me a very generous affiliate commission because they wanted me to like be literally like a partner with them. So it made a lot more sense to just do the partnership in that sense. In the long run, it would have pretty made more sense to set up my own. Maybe I could sell it eventually. I can obviously, even GenZone, like they promote their business in other ways as well. So eventually I could make a lot more with that. But at least in the short term, because at that time I still had my other business, my other channel and all that. Like I wasn't really ready to like go full time just on this, because you never know what's going to happen. So this made more sense in my situation.
Okay. And do you think like content and focusing on that's your zone of genius? That's where you excel, and that's where you should spend like 90% of your time?
Yes, exactly. That's pretty much exactly what I was thinking about at the time. I know how to make videos. I have the trust from my audience in terms of providing them information, but I don't yet have the skills to specifically go through the process of like setting up a company for someone. So it makes much more sense to let them focus on that, because they already have the expertise, and let me focus on the content. And yeah, essentially exactly what you said.
Okay.
Keep building that skill that I already have at a high level.
In terms of like monetization, and you don't need to give like exact numbers here if you don't feel comfortable, but what is the kind of split roughly in terms of all your different kind of revenue sources, I guess, and overall between the two different kind of channels?
Yeah, so the YouTube channel, the coding channel, the other YouTube channel, and then the software. Right now, it's roughly, like it varies month by month, but roughly it's like 1/3 each, actually. It's quite interesting.
Okay.
That's why I still keep doing all these three things, because it's not obvious to me which one is like the best one to go all in on. And also because like any given one of these doesn't take so much time that it's like becomes too much to have all these different businesses. But it really varies. On the coding channel, it's more like lumpy. Like some months I will get a lot of sponsorships. I just went to a conference in Shanghai. I was invited to by Huawei. I did a couple of videos for them. It's very like lucrative, but that's for like 1 month. It's a big lump. But then there could be some month where I get much less, or I even get zero. That can also happen. So it really depends. In good months, it's clearly the best ones. Worse months, it's clearly the worst one. The second channel is very stable. It makes roughly the same amount every single month, like give or take. The software is kind of like, it's growing, like every month is growing. We're getting more customers, things like that. I would anticipate that, let's say in a year, that's clearly going to be the main one, and that's possibly the one where I'm going to be focusing on the most going forward, because that clearly has the most potential. Like the coding channel, like I don't know what I could do to really scale that. Sure, I could try to scale the course and things like that, like we discussed, but for the reasons I discussed, it could be difficult. Sponsorships, they're great when they come in, but there's only a limited amount that I get in terms of offers, so I don't know how much I could do there. The other channel is great. Again, it's quite stable, but again, unless I went to like make the business myself and do everything myself, I don't know exactly what I would do to like scale it. I already post a lot of videos. Whereas with the software, that's clearly the most scalable one. That's where I see like if I end up becoming like a multi-millionaire or something, like clearly the software is how I'm going to do that. So that's where I see the most potential for sure.
Final question, just to round things off. In terms of advice for someone getting started in the kind of content space, would you say product first, or would you say focus on kind of traffic and getting eyeballs?
it's difficult. It depends on, do you want to be a business owner first or a content creator first?
Let's say you're optimizing for kind of finances at the end of the day.
Let's say you're optimizing for finances. I would say if you have a good business idea in mind, it makes sense. Like if you have a really good business in mind, okay, like this is what I want to do, it makes sense to start a business first and then just use the YouTube channel as a marketing channel for it. If you don't have a specific idea for like a software or a product or something in mind, it can be easier to start the content first and then you can kind of figure out how you monetize that later on. So you can really go either way. It kind of just depends. The great thing with going with the content first is that it doesn't really require any upfront investment necessarily. I don't know, a business doesn't also necessarily require that. But like it's gonna be easier to start and you can start making money, like at least some money, easier probably than with a business, provided you are able to like find your niche and like the kind of content that takes off. You can start making some AdSense, maybe get a couple of small deals. You can get to the point where you can like pay your bills and then you can figure out like building the business kind of in peace. You don't need to be working a job or something like that. So it really, I would say it depends.
Okay. Before we go, if people want to kind of hear more about you, where can they find you? What type of businesses do you work with at GenZone or people, I should say, sorry, and then on the coding side as well?
Yeah, so if people want to find me, they can just search on YouTube, either my name, Tuomas, Tuomas, that's for the tax/Dubai channel, then Internet Made Coder for the other channel. There's going to be contact details there for whether it's for sponsorships for my coding channel or for any of the service providers who I work with for the other channel. If you're interested specifically in moving to Dubai, we generally work with people, well, we work with anyone, but who the service makes most sense for is if you make, let's say, minimum $7,000 to $10,000 a month, you have an online business, you're willing to relocate to Dubai, and you want someone to essentially take care of this process for you. You'll find a call booking link, or we can post it down below as well, for a free consultation with them. They can talk to you about the process, ask any questions, and go through your specific situation, because these things are always specific. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. And there's whatever kind of business, if you want to set up a business in Hong Kong or US, Singapore, whatever, I also have service providers who I work with who you can find on my channel if you go through the description.
Tom, it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for coming on.
It's been a pleasure to be here.